Hey guys, Ms. Paraso here to talk to you about composite figures. You should have watched 3 other videos by now talking about your 2D shapes, how to find perimeter and area. Materials you'll need are some colors, your calculator, your vocab sheet that had the formulas on it, and then your notes paper that says composite figure that we'll be working through together today. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Okay. So first thing, a composite figure, sometimes also called an irregular shape, is just a figure that is made up of 2 or more basic shapes. Okay, pardon my little chicken scratch there. All right, so you're looking to see what shapes do I see within this figure. All right, so to find the area of a composite figure, you want to break the figure into shapes with areas you know. So we know triangles, squares, rectangles, parallelograms, trapezoids. So we want to find and break them up into familiar shapes that we can find the areas of. And then we are going to add them all together. All right, so again, for you visual people, this is where I think colors come into play. All right, so in this one, I'm not going to touch this. I'm just showing you what you would do on this figure here. In this one, I see a triangle right here. So I'm going to go ahead and color that piece in right there. And then I also see a rectangle. Now the other thing, before I get started, is I'm going to try and fill in any missing sides. Well, the first thing I need for a triangle is, let me just start with my formula. I have area equals 1/2 base times height. So I need a base and I need a height. So, well, my base is right here, but remember, base and height form that 90-degree angle. I don't see any 90-degree angle. But remember, height goes from the top of the figure to that base. So it's this length of the line. I still don't know that number, but what do I know? I know that this total length is 18. So let me just kind of go up here. So this section from here to here is I don't know. But from here to here, what's that length? Take a look at the figure. Well, from here to here, it's 10. So that means that this length is 10. So that means from here to here is 8. So the height of my triangle is 8. My base, the bottom of my triangle, is the same as that base of my rectangle, which is 5. So I'm going to go ahead and write that in there, write that 10 in there. So I know that my base of my triangle is 5. Don't forget that 1/2. Now I can go ahead and find the area of the triangle. So 1/2, 5 times 8 is 40, and half of 40 is 20. All right, then I have my rectangle. And area of a rectangle is just base times height. Area equals 5 times 10. Area equals 50. So this area is 50. The green is 50. This pink area is 20. So they're stacked on top of each other. So 50 plus 20 is 70. And remember, I said if you don't see units, go ahead and just write in the actual word units, and it's area, so it's units squared. Okay, let's take a look at a little bit more complex one. Go ahead and think about how you would break it down and find all the missing pieces. There's several different ways that you can go about doing it. Okay, so for me, here is how I saw it. I try to look to see, can I just break it up into 2 shapes? And so this one I'm not drawing on just because I want to see the original. Now, normally you would go ahead and draw right on it. I see it as 2 shapes. Okay? You've got to be careful to make sure when you break it up that you have enough information to finish everything. So here, let me go ahead and color that in pink. I see a rectangle. And I see that this is 5 and this is 10. So that means now this new piece right here, notice this 15 was this whole length. Okay, so this is just 5, right? And now in my second shape, I see a trapezoid. Okay? And in this trapezoid, just going to lightly shade that in green, well, if this length is 5, but this whole line is 15, that means that this length, this base here of the trapezoid is 10. It's very important. Once you've broken it up, start writing in some missing pieces that you can find. Now notice here, I've also got this side length here. Now it doesn't matter for the rectangle because I know this whole side of the rectangle is 10. But it does matter for the trapezoid because this is the height of the trapezoid. Well, let's take a look. If this is 6, what is this part supposed to be? Again, notice it's the side of the rectangle. So if the whole side is 10, if this part is 6, then that must mean that this side is 4. Okay? So let me go ahead and write my parts. I've got a rectangle, and I'm going to find the area of my rectangle, which is base times height. So area equals 5 times 10, which is 50. And then I'm going to do the same thing for my trapezoid. So trapezoid, and I like to label it so I know what shape, and then am I using the right formula. If you need to go to your vocab sheet and get your formulas out, get that out. But it's always start with the formula and then fill in what you know. Don't just fill in numbers. Make sure that they fit the part of the trapezoid like we did in the previous videos. All right, remember base 1 and base 2, those are the two lines that are parallel. So that is the 10, not the 15. The 15 was this whole big line. So the 10 goes from this edge to this edge. So the 10 and the 7. And the height is 4. So area equals 1/2 times 17 times 4. Area equals 1/2. I went ahead and did 17 times 4, which is 68. Area equals 34. Again, this is a trapezoid and a rectangle being combined. So I'm going to go ahead and add the two areas together, and I have 84. My units are inches, so inches squared. Okay? Now, sometimes composite shapes, like this was about adding and putting pieces together. Sometimes, though, let's say I had this Post-it note, okay? And this Post-it note is 3 inches on this side and 3 inches on this side. So the whole area is 9 inches. Well, let's say I come along and I'm like, you know what? I want to cut out a shape. Okay? I'm just going to make something up here and see if I can do it. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and cut that out. See if I can do this without messing up the paper too much. Okay? It's not going to be pretty, folks, but you'll get the idea. Alright, so here's what I had. I had a square, but I came and I cut out a triangle. And now I'm saying, okay, now what's the area, the pink area that's left? Well, if I wanted to figure that out, I needed the area of the square, and I would need to know what's the area of the triangle, because I took out an area of the triangle. So in this case, I'm going to have to subtract. So when I'm trying to find the area that is shaded, again, I want to break the figure up into shapes with areas that you know, but in this case, we are going to subtract these areas. All right? So the white is the part that's been cut out, like I just did with the scissors. So we can think of that as being cut out. So I'm actually going to go ahead and color it. So let's take a look at just this white shape. What do you notice? Okay, it's a half a circle, a semicircle. All right, we'll just write half circle for now. Okay, so, and also what else do you notice? Well, here, the distance from one edge to the circle to the other edge, that's called our diameter. So our diameter is equal to 4 centimeters. And if I need area, area equals pi r squared. But remember, this is for a full circle, and I only have half of one. How do I take half? I just divide it by 2. So now if I remember to divide this number by 2, I'll have the area of this white piece, the piece that was cut out. Okay? But I need to know the shaded area. So the bigger shape is my square. How do I know that it's a square and not a rectangle? Good. I know that it's a square because all 4 sides have the same length. So the side length is 4 centimeters. So its area is base times height, or just the side length squared. Area equals 4 times 4, which is 16. So it's kind of like my Post-it note situation, and then I cut out half a circle from it. Okay? So we have the area of the square, that's what it was, but then I come in with scissors and I'm cutting out this piece. So we're going to use 3.14 for pi. The radius, well, if the diameter is 4, that means that the radius is 2. So 2 squared and divide by 2. So area equals, remember order of operations, we're going to do our exponents first. And now let's multiply left to right. Okay, so 2 squared was 4, so we're going to times that by 3.14. And we get 12.56. And then we're going to go ahead and divide that by 2 because we only want half of the circle. That's going to be a common mistake that I see in students' papers, is if they forget about that it's all, they see half and they recognize it as half, but they forget to show the work for only half. So again, I had a square that had 16, an area of 16, but I cut out that section there with my scissors, so that's why it's white. So that means that I have to subtract the 2 areas. So think about it this way. Shaded means that you are going to subtract. So go ahead and do the subtraction. Okay? So we get 2, 7, bring down the decimal, 9. So 9 and 72 hundredths, and our units were centimeters squared. Okay? All right. So for the next part of the video, what you're going to do is I want you to go ahead and I want you to see how you break it up. Okay? You're going to pause the video, break up the shapes, and find the areas. And then you're going to press play to check your work. So I'm going to do that for each one of these. Hopefully I have enough time to do that. And you're just going to have to pause and check your work on that. Okay? All right, so go ahead, break up the first figure, press play to see how I broke it up. It could be completely different. All right? And then from there, we'll go ahead and post the answer keys so that way you can check your final work. So in this part of the video, all we're going to do is we're going to show how I decided to break up the work. But again, the way I did it may be completely different from you. All right, guys, here's number 1. Pause and take a look at your work. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Look at how we found that this missing distance, the whole distance was 6. So that means that my diameter is 3. So my radius is 1.5. So double check that. All right. Now this was a shading one, so I don't have any coloring. But I saw a circle inside a square. This one was a little tricky. This was the radius. If I continue in the opposite direction, notice it's from edge to edge of the square, and that it's 24. So that was a little tricky. If you got it, awesome job. And then last, number 6. We have a triangle being cut out of a rectangle. Notice, how did I get this height? Because it's the height of the rectangle. The tip of my triangle down to the base is also 6. Okay, guys, you're all set. Thanks for watching.